Chapter 1. The Bag Snatcher. One Saturday afternoon in a small town, Emma Carter came out of a shoe shop with some new shoes. They were cheap shoes, but Emma was very pleased with them. She was 73 years old and did not have much money. She began to walk home. A nice cup of tea, she thought, and then I can go for a walk in my new shoes. It was a quiet town, and there was nobody in the street. Suddenly, Emma heard something behind her. She did not have time to look, because just then somebody ran up behind her, hit her on the head, and snatched her bag out of her hands. Emma fell down on her back. Then she looked up and saw a tall young man with long, dirty brown hair. He stood and looked down at her for a second. Then he ran away with Emma's bag under his arm. "Help! Help!" Emma cried. But nobody came, and after 2 or 3 minutes, Emma slowly got up and went to the nearest house. The people there were very kind. They gave Emma a cup of tea, and soon an ambulance came and took her to hospital. At the hospital, a doctor looked at Emma's head and back. "You're going to be okay," he said. "Just take it easy for a day or 2. Can your husband help you at home?" "My husband died 8 years ago," said Emma. "There's only me at home." "Well," the doctor said, "we don't want you to feel ill and fall downstairs at home, so I think you must stay in hospital for tonight, and perhaps tomorrow night too." Later, a policeman came to the hospital, and Emma told him about the bag snatcher. "Did anybody see this young man?" he asked. "I don't know," said Emma, "but there was nobody in the street when I called for help." "Oh dear," the policeman said. "What was in your bag?" "A little money and a lottery ticket," said Emma. "I buy a ticket every Saturday. Then on Saturday evening I watch the lottery on television. I always have the same numbers, 5, 12, 23, 24, 38, 41. All those numbers are important to me. I was born on 5th of December, 1923. I lived at number 24 Sandwich Road for 38 years. "Yes, yes," said the policeman. "I understand." He wrote everything down in a little black book. "Did you see the man's face?" he asked. "Yes," said Emma. "I did. I fell on my back, and he looked down at me for a second, so I saw his face." The policeman opened a small bag. In it, there were a lot of pictures of eyes and ears, hair and mouths. "I need a picture of the man's face. Can you help me?" he said. "Yes," said Emma. He was tall, and he had long, dirty brown hair. He wore blue trousers and a white shirt with a picture of a footballer. He had brown eyes. Carefully, she took the small pictures and made a big picture of the young man's face. She checked the picture carefully. "What color were his shoes?" asked the policeman. Shoes. Suddenly, Emma remembered her new shoes. Where were they? She told the policeman about her shoes, but then she began to cry and could not stop. A nurse came up to Emma's bed. "Please go now," she said to the policeman. "Mrs. Carter needs to sleep." Chapter 2. The Winning Ticket. Jason Williams came home and sat down on his bed. He was 22 years old. He lived with his father and mother in 3 small rooms at the top of a tall building. Every day he went out, but he did not go to work. Jason stole things. Sometimes he stole things from shops or cars, and sometimes he stole money from old people like Emma Carter. Today he was angry. I took that old woman's bag, he thought. What did I get? £2, 74 pence, and a lottery ticket. And it was an old, cheap bag, too. Jason knew about lottery tickets. He bought 5 tickets every weekend. He put Emma's lottery ticket in his pocket and forgot about it. Then he went out for a drink. At the hospital, a nurse put Emma to bed in a room with 5 other women. There was a television in the room, and at 8 o'clock everybody watched the lottery. For a minute Emma watched too, but she felt very tired, and soon she closed her eyes and slept. So she did not hear the winning numbers for that week's lottery. On Sunday at 12 o'clock, Jason got out of bed and made some tea. Then he opened his father's newspaper and found the winning lottery numbers: 5, 12, 23, 24, 38, 41. He checked his 5 lottery tickets. No good, he said. Then he remembered the old woman's ticket and checked those numbers too. 5, 12, 23, 24, 38, 41. He checked them 3 times. 6 winning numbers. I'm a winner, he said. He kissed the ticket. Then he ran into the living room and kissed his mother. Here, what's the matter, Jason? Said Lily Williams. Jason sometimes hit her, but he did not usually kiss her. Her cigarette fell out of her mouth. The lottery! I'm this week's winner, Mum. Look, 6 winning numbers. I'm rich. Jason's father came into the living room. What's all this noise? He said. Joe, said Lily. Jason's got 6 winning numbers in the lottery. We're rich. Wrong, said Jason. I'm rich. His mother and father began to speak at the same time. But Jason did not listen. He went out to the telephone box in the street and made a very important telephone call. On Monday morning, a policeman came to the hospital with Emma's new shoes. A little girl found them in the street and took them to the police station, he said. How kind of her, said Emma. We found your bag too, said the policeman. But there's nothing in it, Mrs. Carter. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter, said Emma. I'm very pleased to have the bag. My son gave it to me a long time ago. He lives in Australia, but he telephones me every week. And now I've got my new shoes too. Thank you very much. Suddenly, she felt happier. That evening, an ambulance took Emma home. She made a cup of tea and sat down to watch the television news. The newsreader smiled into Emma's living room. And now for this week's lottery winner. The winning numbers were 5, 12, 23, 24, 38, 41. And here is the man with the winning ticket. Jason Williams. Jason is 22, and now he's a rich man. He's got a check from Sunshine Lotteries for £5 million. That's a lot of money. Well, Jason, how are you feeling tonight? Wonderful. And what are you going to do with your money? Oh, I'm going to buy a house with 50 rooms and a big expensive car. I'm going to go to New York, Miami. Emma looked at the young man on the television. Jason Williams had a big smile on his face, but he had long, dirty brown hair, brown eyes. Emma sat up quickly. That's the man, she thought. I remember his face. He hit me and snatched my bag and stole my lottery ticket, my winning ticket, with my winning numbers. She got up and went to the telephone. Hello, police? She said. Chapter 3. Jason in Trouble. At 10 o'clock on Monday night, Jason was a very happy man. He was in a big room in a hotel with a lot of people in beautiful clothes. There were television cameras, reporters, people from Sunshine Lotteries. Everybody had a drink in their hands, and a girl went round the room with a bottle of champagne. Have some more champagne, she said to Jason. Jason's face went very red. He snatched the bottle and took a long drink. The champagne ran down his new blue shirt. He laughed. Kiss me, he said to the girl. Suddenly the door opened and 2 men came in. Hello, said Jason. Come in and have some champagne. It's okay. Sunshine Lotteries are paying for it. But the 2 men were not interested in champagne. They were policemen. Everybody stopped talking and looked at them. Is Jason Williams here? One of the policemen said. That's me, said Jason. What do you want? We'd like to ask you some questions, Mr. Williams, at the police station. Come with us, please. On Tuesday morning, Jason was tired and unhappy. He was in a small room at the police station, and there were 2 policemen in the room with him. One policeman stood by the door and watched and listened. The second policeman sat at a table and asked questions. Questions. The same questions. Again and again. Now, said the policeman, tell me again, where were you at 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon? At home, said Jason. I'm telling you the truth. Ask my mother and father. I didn't steal anything. I'm not interested in your mother and father, said the policeman. I can talk to them later. At the moment, I'm interested in you and your answers to my questions. You were in town on Saturday afternoon. We know that because a woman saw you. No, said Jason. That's a lie. I was at home all afternoon and evening. I watched football on television. Tell me about the football then. Who won? Jason said nothing. His hands and his face felt hot. When did the football finish? 5 o'clock? 6 o'clock? Yes, no, said Jason. I don't remember. The policeman smiled. How much money was there in the bag, Jason? There wasn't. Jason stopped. Careful, he thought. Be careful. There wasn't a bag, he said. I told you I didn't steal the old woman's bag." "Old woman? Who said anything about an old woman?" Now Jason felt cold. "You did," he said. "Oh no, I didn't," said the policeman. "I talked about a woman. So how did you know she was an old woman?" He stood up. "Jason Williams, on Saturday afternoon, you hit Mrs. Emma Carter on the head and snatched her bag. You stole her money and her lottery ticket. Her winning lottery ticket, so you stole £5 million from Mrs. Carter. You're in trouble, Williams. Big trouble." "I want to see my lawyer," said Jason suddenly. Jason did not know any lawyers, but people on television always said that. That afternoon, a different policeman took Jason to court. The court was in a big gray building in the middle of the town. Jason and the policeman waited in a small room. The policeman did not look at Jason, and he did not say anything. Jason felt very unhappy. Then a woman came into the room. She was young, with short brown hair and an interesting face. She wore a black skirt and a white shirt and carried a big black bag. "Mr. Williams," she said to Jason, "I'm Sally Cash and I'm your lawyer." The policeman left the room, and Sally Cash sat down and began to ask Jason questions. Soon a man in a black coat came into the room. "Are you ready to go into court, Miss Cash?" he asked. "Nearly ready, John," said the lawyer. She looked at Jason. "I'm going to do all the talking in court, okay? I don't want you to say anything. Nothing important is going to happen today. They're going to send you to the Crown Court. That's a more important court." "When?" asked Jason. "Soon." "Can I go home tonight?" asked Jason. "Last night I slept in a cell at the police station. It wasn't very nice." "No, I'm sorry," said Miss Cash. "You can't go home. You see, you're a rich man now. You can buy a ticket to New York, Hong Kong, you can buy an airplane. The police want you to stay in this country. But I want to go home." "I can ask the court," said Sally Cash. Two men and a woman sat at the end of a long table and listened carefully to everyone's story. Then the woman looked at Sally Cash. "This case must go to the Crown Court," she said. "Jason Williams must stay at the police station and—" "Excuse me," said Sally Cash. "Mr. Williams slept in a police cell last night. He's very young and he was unhappy and afraid. He'd like to go home tonight, please." The woman talked quietly to the two men for a minute. Then she said, "Mr. Williams, you can go home tonight, but you must leave your lottery check here in court." "Why?" asked Jason. "We don't want you to run away, Mr. Williams. Now listen carefully. You must live at your parents' house. Don't leave the town. And every morning at 10 o'clock, you must go to the police station. Do you understand?" "Yes," said Jason. Chapter 4. Everybody Loves a Winner. When Jason got home, his mother was very excited. "We saw you on the news last night," she said. "With your check for £5 million. You're rich and famous." "I'm in trouble, Mom," said Jason. Please phone the police. Say, my son was at home on Saturday afternoon. He watched the football on television. Please. I can't say that, said his mother. It isn't true. Would you like 10,000 pounds? Asked Jason suddenly. No, said Lily Williams. I always tell the truth. 20,000? Said Jason. Why do you want me to tell a lie to the police? Asked Lily. What did you do on Saturday afternoon? She looked at Jason. You did something bad. Is that it? And now you want me to tell a lie for you. But I don't tell lies. 30,000, said Jason. Please, Mum, help me. I slept in a police cell last night and I was in court this afternoon. Now they're going to send me to the Crown Court. Mum, 30,000 pounds, think about it. Okay, son, said Lily Williams slowly. For 30,000 pounds, I think I can tell a lie. But what did you do on Saturday afternoon? Tell me. Nothing, said Jason. I didn't do anything. So why are they sending you to the Crown Court? Jason didn't answer, and his mother looked at him. And what about your dad? He was at home on Saturday afternoon. You weren't, and he knows that. What do you want him to say to the police? Okay, said Jason. Dad can have 30,000 pounds too, but not today. My lottery check is at the court, and I've only got 2 pounds in my pocket. Jason did not sleep well that night. On Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, he went to the police station. I'm here, he said. You've got a visitor, said the policeman. It's your wife. She wants to see you. Jason's mouth opened. My wife? He said. But the policeman opened a door and called. He's here, Mrs. Williams. A young woman came into the room. Hello, Jason. Fiona Williams was small and fat. She had long yellow hair and a big red mouth. She looked at Jason, but she talked to the policeman. Jason is my husband, she said. Our son was born 2 years ago. His name's Jack. I loved Jason, but he wasn't very nice to me. Sometimes he hit me. One night he broke 2 of my teeth. Then the baby was ill and cried a lot. Jason hit him too. Jack was only 2 months old and Jason hit him, a little baby. That's a lie, said Jason. I didn't. Oh, yes, you did, Fiona said. She spoke to the policeman again. So I left him and took the baby with me. Jason didn't look for us. He didn't want us, and he never gave me any money for our son. He went home to his mother and father, and he forgot about little Jack and me. I forgot about Jason too. Then I saw him on television with a check from Sunshine Lotteries for 5 million pounds. Well, I'm his wife, Jack's his son, and we want half of his money. Well, Mr. Williams, said the policeman, is this woman your wife? Don't ask him. Ask me, Fiona said. He's my husband, and I can prove it. I'm going to get a good lawyer, and I'm going to get that 2.5 million pounds. Everybody wants my money, said Jason. I'm going to see my lawyer. So, on Wednesday afternoon, Jason went to Sally Cash's office. It was in a big building with Evans, Robinson, Dennis, and Day over the door. Why isn't your name there too? Asked Jason. Because I'm young and not very important, said Sally with a smile. I work for Mr. Dennis. Sally's office was very small. There were books on the table and on all the chairs. Sally moved the books off one chair, and Jason sat down. So, Jason, Sally said, you have a wife and son. How do you know that? Said Jason. Your wife's lawyer telephoned me this afternoon, said Sally. Your wife wants some of your lottery money, and because she's your wife and has a 2-year-old son, she can get it easily. I'm not going to give her anything, Jason said. She left me. She went away with a new lover, and she took our baby with her. She never wrote or telephoned. I looked for her, but I couldn't find her. I cried every night. Your wife tells a different story. She left you because you hit her, and the baby. Is that true? I don't remember, Jason said angrily. It was a long time ago. She just wants my money. Everybody wants my money, but it was my lottery ticket, so it's my money. Said Sally. Perhaps it was Mrs. Emma Carter's lottery ticket. She remembered the numbers because they were important to her. Said Jason. That old woman just wants my money because she saw me on television. She thought of a good story about the numbers, and now she says that it was her ticket. Did the ticket have her name on it? No, there are no names on lottery tickets. So she can't prove that it was her ticket, said Jason. She can't take my money away from me. Perhaps she can and perhaps she can't. We don't know. But she's going to need a good lawyer, and lawyers are expensive. It isn't going to be easy for her. So that old woman wants all the money. Fiona wants half of it. My mum wants 30,000 pounds. My dad wants 30,000 pounds. You're forgetting me, said Sally. I don't understand, Jason said. I told you. Lawyers are expensive, and I'm doing a lot of work for you. You can't pay me now because your check is at the court, but I can wait. Oh, thanks very much, said Jason. Very kind of you. Sally smiled. Now, let's talk about the bag snatching. I didn't do it. Sally looked tired. Jason, I want to help you, but it's very difficult. Mrs. Carter saw your face in the street, and then she saw you on television. She's going to stand up in the court and say, "That's the man. He stole my bag, my money, and my lottery ticket." But it isn't true, said Jason. I was at home. I watched the football on television. Ask my mom. How much money are you giving her, Jason? Sally asked quietly. 30,000 pounds, was it? Jason's face went red. He wanted to hit Sally. She looked at his red, angry face and waited. Then she said, Jason, in the Crown Court, a lot of people are going to look at you. They're going to think, this is a nasty young man. He hits people. His wife, his baby, old women in the street. He steals things, he wins £5 million in the lottery, but he doesn't want to give a penny to his wife and son. And he tells lies. They're not gonna like you, Jason. And that's not gonna help you, so please tell the truth. Say that you're sorry. You're young. You can begin again. Stay out of trouble. But you must tell the truth to the court. Jason thought for a minute. Then he looked at Sally. Okay, he said slowly. Perhaps I took the old woman's bag, but that lottery ticket wasn't in her bag. It's my ticket. I bought it. I paid for it. With my money. Okay? Sally Cash did not answer. She looked at Jason for 2 or 3 long minutes. Then she said slowly, Okay, Jason, you stole the bag, but it was your lottery ticket. Chapter 5. Emma Gets a Lawyer. On Wednesday evening, Simon Carter telephoned his mother. He lived near Sydney with his wife and their 2 children, and he telephoned Emma every week. She told him the story of her lottery ticket. Simon listened carefully and got angrier and angrier. Is your head okay now, Mum? Yes, thank you, Simon. But I'm very, very angry. That young man stole my lottery ticket. Now he's got a check for £5 million, and I've got nothing. I don't want to be rich, but I do want to come to Australia and visit you and Molly and my grandchildren. It's not right, Simon. I had the winning ticket. I paid for it, and that man stole it. She began to cry. Mum, listen, said Simon. Go and see a lawyer. I don't know any lawyers, said Emma unhappily. Look in the telephone book, said Simon. There are lawyers in every town. But lawyers are expensive. I can't pay a lawyer. I can pay a lawyer, said Simon. I'm sending you some money today through my bank. Don't cry, Mum. Put on your best dress and go and see a lawyer. Simon, you're a wonderful son, and you're a wonderful mother. Goodbye, Mum, and good luck. Well, Mrs. Carter, how can I help you? It was Thursday morning, and Emma was in Edwin Jones's office. Edwin Jones was a big man with a red face and small blue eyes. It's about a lottery ticket, Emma began. Ah, the lottery. Everybody wants to win the lottery. But I did, said Emma. It was my ticket, my numbers. Tell me about it, Mrs. Carter, from the beginning. So Emma told the lawyer everything, and he listened carefully. When Emma finished, he said, Those numbers on the ticket, tell them to me again. 5, 12, 23, 24, 38, 41. And you always get a ticket with those numbers. Why, Mrs. Carter? Asked the lawyer. All those numbers are important to me. I was born on 5th December 1923. I lived at number 24 Sandwich Road for 38 years, and my son Simon is 41 years old. I see. Well, Mrs. Carter, Mr. Jones said, what do you want me to do? Please talk to Sunshine Lotteries, Mr. Jones. They've got my ticket. But, Mrs. Carter, what can they do? All lottery tickets look the same. People don't write their names on their tickets. Perhaps it is your ticket, but we can't prove it. But we can. My ticket's different. Please listen. I always put a little kiss on my ticket. You know, an X. Why do you do that? My son lives in Australia with his family. I'd like to visit them, but airplane tickets are very expensive. So every week I get a lottery ticket, and I think about Simon and his wife and my grandchildren. And I send them a kiss. Simon's a wonderful son. He telephones me every week. He never forgets. The lawyer smiled. Yes, I understand, he said. My mother lives in Wales, and I telephone her every week too. Please go home now, Mrs. Carter. I'm going to make some telephone calls. Come and see me.